Thank you, Bandura. Today, I'm here in the capacity as an educator. And honestly, those images were very disturbing. But here, the beginning few lines, I'm supposed to speak about my experiences of coping with failure. Fortunately or unfortunately, I cannot recall any incidents where I've experienced debilitating failure. But yes, if you look at instances, there are lots of things that I just couldn't do. I couldn't, and I still can't ride a bicycle. I took up a course learning Bharatanatyam, which I never completed. I dropped it midway. I've never played a sport. Somehow, that's one thing I never, ever did, and I regret it immensely. I was not too very good at art either. Though one thing I thought I could do very well was I thought I could probably write. And when I eventually did that, I wrote a play, and I read it a week later. I realized that the story was very similar to a movie that I'd just seen. I thought so much for my writing abilities. I decided that probably as I was learning with my son, that education is a very interesting profession. I acquired a degree in education and I went for my first interview. I was given what we in teaching parlance are called a few units where I had to demonstrate my teaching skills. One unit in math, one in science, and one was a poem in English, Stepping Stones. The math and the science, I was very sure I could do it well. But the English poem, I thought I needed to really prepare and plan because it was a little too abstract. I then decided that I would use a sport icon to connect with my class. And I'm extremely fortunate to say that today, the same icon is seated right in front of me. I used Mr. Saurav Ganguly then to a classroom full of students, and the poem was The Stepping Stones. It spoke of obstacles. And he had just come back, and he was right there on national media. So for a person who is not really passionate about sports, I saw my class change. My math and science lesson went off very well. But what was amazing was I had the students in the palm of my hands. I got the job, and I continued teaching. Now, we are talking about failure. I was confident about my content. I went to class, and I kept teaching. I prepared lesson plans and teaching resources and delivered those lessons I thought was very effective. But when the students were assessed, to my dismay, when the data was studied, not all of them did very well. A very humbling experience, and I thought, am I again a failure at teaching? Then began the introspection. I observed lessons done by my peers, delivered in class. I read a lot. I read a lot on teaching methodologies, and eventually I realized that probably I need to infuse a little more humor in class. It began to work. And all those areas of my personality that I had neglected, whether it was music, dance, and art, now came to my rescue. Because every time you teach a lesson, if you involve the child with those activities, I found that my lessons were a lot more successful, and the students understood what I was trying to teach better. I won't take long, but I've got one verse from that poem that I taught on that particular day, and I think is perfectly suited for this occasion. Stepping Stones by Barbara Williams. Come take my hand, the road is long. We must travel by stepping stones. No, you're not alone, I've been there. Don't fear the darkness, I'll be with you. We must take one step at a time. But remember, we may have to stop a while. It's a long way to the other side. and there are many obstacles. From then on, I've learned to catch my mistakes, correct, and learn from failure. Thank you.